Dr. Narnese, welcome back in. Hey, today I wanted to do some highlights, some news that's going on, things that concern us as Black women in particular. One, I want to make an announcement, y'all. The Target boycott is still going on. The Target boycott is still going on. You see that it's been effective. Now, I've been seeing video of Black people going to Target, and I don't know what that's about. I mean, everybody has their right to make their own choice, but we collectively are doing a thing, right? And so I just wanted to make that announcement that the Target boycott is still going on, and you see that it's been working, right? You see they have been suffering in their sales. Their CEO had to take a pay cut, and you see how Target is reaching out to some Black organizations, right? Target misses the Black dollar. They are missing the Black dollar. They are showing up at Essence. They are showing up. You saw those ministers, right? They showed up and said, "We are going to donate to your churches." It was the Baptist churches and the Kojic Church of God in Christ Pentecostals took a check from Target. How are we going to come up, y'all? I don't know. You'll put in the comment what you think. But that was my announcement. Secondly, have y'all seen these videos of white women crying over their MAGA vote? They regret their MAGA vote. Some of these women, and there are some men who are regretting their vote as well, but I'm particularly addressing women because we know that white women have weaponized their tears in the past. When the heat gets to be too much and they want to distance themselves from how bad things are, then they want to cry and say, "Oh, I didn't mean it. Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, no, I'm not really racist. Oh, no, I didn't really mean." So what we're seeing is white women are again weaponizing their tears. You know how we feel about that. Just pour that cup right out. To say that they didn't realize that things were going to be this bad, that people were going to be rounded up and deported in a mass deportation effort. They didn't realize that, they actually benefit from diversity, equity, and inclusion. They didn't realize that many of them are actually the welfare queen and they rely upon help, right? They rely on that check, they rely on those food stamps. So while they thought, okay, it's only those other people who don't deserve it, those other people are taking advantage of the system, those other people are a problem, I'm still going to get my food stamps, or my grandmother is still going to be able to get her benefits. And so they're waking up and realizing, so what are we going to do? What are we going to do about those who regret their MAGA vote? What are we going to do? Now, I think back historically. I'm a historian, religion and history scholar. And I think back to the Civil War era and Reconstruction. And one of the things that the United States had to figure out is, what are we going to do with these traitors? What are we going to do with these people who literally joined the Confederacy against the United States and tried to overthrow, right? So how do you reintegrate people who are literally traitors back into the country? Well, during Reconstruction, the traitors basically got themselves right on back in. Under President Andrew Johnson, who was a Southerner, and he said, well, I think they've learned their lesson. I'm basically just going to give them a slap on the wrist. And so I think about, what are you going to do? Because that is something we're going to have to think about, right? Because we're going to have some of those MAGA people come back and say, oh, no, I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. And what are we going to do about it? Think on that. And what I wanted to say also, Michelle says she is not divorcing her husband. Michelle says she's not leaving Barack. There have been all of these rumors about there's been trouble in their marriage. Even when they were in the White House, people were like, oh, she's hard on him, or, he's this or that or whatever. There's trouble in paradise. Michelle said, and this was reported in, Essence magazine or Essence Online, right? An Essence article, Michelle on her podcast, you might realize that Michelle Obama had, and her brother, they have their podcast, and Barack came on, and they kind of like made light of it, but they are addressing a very serious issue, which is no, they're not about to divorce. People were seeing that Michelle was doing some things on her own, Barack was doing something on their own. They've been married for decades, y'all. Of course, they do things separately, right? Like people, if you're married, do you have to stay joined at the hip 24/7, 365? They are allowed to go and pursue their own different interests. And we know we have heard Michelle say before that she really did not want a life in politics. She did not want a life in the public eye. And so when she agreed to go on this journey with Barack, that was a sacrifice that she was making. We know that she made a sacrifice in terms of her career, right? We know that she did. So now she's doing some of the things that she really wants to do. And some people really just have a problem with women doing that, right? She's supposed to be by her man. She's supposed to do this. She's supposed to do that. Well, Michelle said, I'm not doing none of that. She's what, in her early 60s? And she said, I'm not doing none of that. I'm doing what I want to do. My husband understands. My husband is doing what he wants to do because he always has. Hmm. And Michelle, once again, said she is not leaving her man. And her man said he is not leaving his wife. So can we get that together, y'all? Michelle and Barack are not breaking up. And what else? Oh, and Essence, back to Essence. I said that article was in Essence and on their podcast. But have you heard about what's going on with the Essence Fest? Whew, I didn't go this year. I have gone in previous years. I can't remember exactly which years, but usually I go to see Maxwell. Um, so I don't remember. But this last go round, um, I guess things didn't go well, that there were a lot of logistical, strategic problems, too many artists, and, the concerts going into the wee hours. There seemed to be like a lack of concern for that, right? For the temperature in the Superdome and how many artists it could possibly fit into one night and all kind of things like that. Also, as you may or may not know, the Essence Fest has been sold, and so the people who are running it now are African, and they might have a different way that they want to do Essence. They might have a different way that they want to present the totality of the Black experience. Perhaps their experiences and what they want to bring forth in Essence represent more of a global Black diaspora. And so many Black Americans are saying, hey, hold up, wait a minute. Wait, this is our institution, Essence Magazine. It is not geared for the diaspora. It is representative of the Black American experience and really specifically the Black American woman's experience because Essence has served Black American women since its inception in the 70s. And so stuff is going on. So this brings up a question though, some food for thought that we all are going to have to continue to talk about. There is the influence of more recent African Americans versus the Black people who are descended from slaves here. And they're known by, different names. Like now, I think people are being called foundational Black Americans or ADOS, American descendants of slaves. And, with newer immigrants from Africa, how does that change African American culture? Can we use that word anymore? What does it mean to be African American anymore? Some people will say, well, I never wanted to be called African American anyway. I want to be called Black or just American or Black American for that reason. Our situation is very specific to us. And, we might really have to have that conversation going forward because, Africa is rising. And that's a great thing. Africa is rising. in many ways, economically and politically, and in terms of fashion, art, film. I mean, it is rising, and thank God. But now we see there is an influence upon Black American culture to the extent that they have bought what has been, right, an institution within Black America, Essence Magazine and Essence Fest, and that is changing things up. And what are we going to do? One thing's for sure: these things are not going away, right? We're going to have to sort of come to some understanding with one another. It's not like they are not going to be here, right? There are Africans who are coming. So what does it mean to have African American culture? What does it mean? Are we going to be divided? I don't think that benefits any of us to be divided. So that is another point to consider in my news points today. I'm just giving us some news points. The other thing about Essence Magazine, too, I wanted to say, and I've said this before, I gave up reading Essence years ago. And here's why. Like, I'm Gen X. I am over 50 years old. And it's been maybe probably at least 10 years, maybe more. I don't know, approximately 10 years where I noticed that Essence Magazine really started to cater to a younger woman, a millennial. And, as newer generations become adults, that is to be expected. But I think as a Gen X woman and, some even of the younger baby boomers who are in their early to mid 60s right now, we didn't feel included in the conversation, right? Those of us who become aunties or granny or grandmas are no longer included. And so Essence sort of sacrificed us. So it's like, okay, well, if you want to have the younger women, then that's what you have. But I, as a woman who's 50 something or 60 something, you don't have nothing for me. So why hasn't it been more inclusive as it had previously under the direction of Susan Taylor, which takes us back a while? But it used to be more inclusive. Yeah, you welcome in the younger women, but you don't throw out the women who, as we are getting older and wiser, more glorious and more fabulous, because we have information and wisdom to share with the younger women. We can tell you, you know what, look, young sister, let me tell you how that's not going to work out. Or here, let me tell you, do it this way. And I know sometimes young people don't want to listen, but I'm going to tell you. And how do I know? I'm not telling you something that I just made up. I'm telling you because I've already been there, already done that, spent decades doing it, trying to make it work. It don't work like that. Yeah. So anyway, I wonder, you can comment, let me know what you think about Essence. Are you still a part of it? Have you been going to the Essence Fest? What do you think? But as I said, I quit reading it some time ago because they gave up on us. And, you have some women now who are some older millennials, they're called grand millennials, who find themselves in menopause or perimenopause. And then they're saying nobody told us. Well, nobody told us either as Gen X, but now the conversation is making much more of a splash, right? More people are talking about perimenopause and menopause. And so, of course, you as a younger woman, if you're 39 or 42 or 47, whatever you are, you want some information about what's going on. So you need to talk to older women because I can tell you a thing or two. Anyway, that's kind of my 2 cents about Essence Magazine and Essence Fest. I don't know if I'm going to be going to Essence Fest, making a special trip anyway. I don't know. Maxwell always gets my money. So we'll see. But anyway, I wanted to come on here and just do kind of a little rundown. I think I'm going to start doing more of these. The news that pertains to us, particularly as Black women over 40, over 50. Let me know what you're thinking about. Bye for now.